Welcome to IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook. That's Ian Boyd. Should have Justin Wells joining us in just a little while. Thank you for watching. Good morning, Jose. Roaster, good morning. Longhorn in Omaha. Appreciate you joining in. Hey, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go to that first link in our description. Sign up for Inside Texas for 50% off the annual subscription price. That gets you the Ultimate Fan Bundle. That's Inside Texas, where you get all the best transfer portal intel. That gets you On 3. And we've got Pete Nakos, Hayes Fawcett. They've been helping, dishing, assisting, killing it with all the different scoop they've been providing, supplementing everything we've been bringing over at Inside Texas. And you got Rivals. Before you know it, we'll be talking about high school recruiting. So should be a lot of fun. We always have fun over on Inside Texas. Come join us. First link in description, or 50% off, or use that QR code at the top left of your screen. If you have not done so already, go ahead and wait maybe till we're done with this video. We got a lot to talk about today. We got transfer portal. We got transfer portal. We got transfer portal. And we'll talk a little bit about the college football playoff. We do have a video up for Rayleigh Brown, so go ahead and bookmark that. Come through later to watch that. I talk about that with Homer. But Ian, thinking about Rayleigh Brown, what are your initial thoughts on that pickup?
Pretty good. They need to retain Christian Clark. It seems like that should be really easy, honestly. Because Eli finally put it together at Texas. I'm sure when the price is right, that'll come together. His play in the bowl game was so encouraging to me that now I'm just like, great. You get your speed, your home run hitter, third down guy in Rayleigh Brown, and you're probably set. I just don't. I've had the sort of NFL mindset towards college running backs for a while now. That was the basis of the infamous Kyle Porter bandwagon that did go into a ditch and catch fire. But I just don't that position. I don't really get hung up on it. If you don't have a good running back, then it's like a home insurance where you never think about it until you don't have it.
Right.
There's so many guys that are running backs in college are just naturally gifted athletes. You just don't see bad ones very often. But when you do have less great ones, it's pretty rough. But it's never been something I've been super worried about.
I mean, you take the Bijan Robinsons, of course. You take the Jonathan Brooks, but it's not like you can survive without those guys. It is like you can survive without those guys. I mean, just look at what a lot of these different playoff teams. Heck, Alabama, until they met maybe the best team in the country, they got by without a run game. They had Jam Miller, and he couldn't do anything. It's kind of a difference in their, what they did with the offensive line. But I mean, these types of players also, Ian, fit in really well with a Steve Sarkisian offense. It's really hard not to say Jaden Blue when watching Rayleigh Brown, but there's a lot of similarity there. But I think Rayleigh Brown is not that Jaden Blue wasn't asked to do it, but I think Rayleigh Brown, because of what Kenny Dillingham asked to do, can run between the tackles okay if you need it, but you never want to make that your major thing.
Yeah, I think I would say he's even a lot better than Jaden Blue at moving behind the line of scrimmage and finding the right gap and getting inside. Somebody, Baracho, says, LOL, what are we talking about? This is some serious coping. Rayleigh Brown ran for 1,000 yards last year for Arizona State. Do y'all ever watch the Pittsburgh Steelers? You ever see that guy, Jalen Warren, that plays running back for them? That dude came out of nowhere, Utah, went to Oklahoma State and ran for over 1,000 yards, destroyed Texas. Some Big 12 coach told him that he wasn't a Big 12 caliber running back. Rival school, they didn't offer him. And then he went to Oklahoma State and just destroyed that guy. Finding great running backs is not that hard. They're very contextually dependent. They probably had to pony up for Rayleigh which might have even been a mistake, honestly. I think he's really good. I think he's a great fit for what Texas wants. But I also think like Kurt Signetti would have found a Raleek Brown from a less obvious place and paid less and gotten just as much, you know?
Yeah.
So this is running back has never been my concern. I've never been worried about it. Raleek Brown, great. Retain Clark, you're fine.
Yeah, and they're going to look for one more. I think that goes without saying.
And I wouldn't even go for one more, honestly. I would just give Simon reps, Walker and Cooper. If you lose Clark, then obviously you got to get another one. But
yeah, going through some of the comments, and I guess we can talk real quick. Christian Allegro, Wisconsin linebacker, visited Texas, visited Ohio State, ends up committing to Ohio State. That one is a little bit tougher, just because of what the linebacker position has kind of turned into. Charlie Williams over at Inside Texas, and again, go check that out. Has the latest on what with going on with Elijah Barnes, Will Muschamp, their discussions. But at this point, they need linebackers, and Allegro is someone that was a kind of a big loss, and you tip your cap to Ohio State for leveraging James Laurinaitis to get him.
I prefer Cade Uluwave to Allegro. So, I think Allegro is a good player. I'm sure he'll do very well at Ohio State. He's kind of tall. He's an interesting player. There's so many. Uluwave is special as far as like plugging experienced inside linebackers go. And you could still find some other ones. Whoever they get is going to be playing behind like a rotation of 350-pound nose tackles, behind Hero Canoe, behind Lance Jackson, Colin Simmons on the outside. If playing linebacker at Texas is often not that hard. It's more about knowing what to do and how to process everything. An experienced linebacker at Texas is going to look pretty good because he's so covered up and so well situated by the context.
There's some questions. What about this player? I don't know, man. He just entered. It's hard for me to know at this juncture. That's something that we're going to definitely have to take some looks into. But they were tracking Allegro, brought him in, tracking Uluwave. I believe they're bringing him in today. If he just jumped in when we're on this live, I don't know about him. But I think getting Barnes back is important just because he does have a good fit within that Texas defense and the Muschamp defense.
Yeah. Also, it's hard to bring in, like, let's say you can get so far behind the 8 ball with your depth that it gets hard to bring in transfers because you're like, do I bring in a guy that's not that good just because I need depth? Well, you'd rather have a guy that's not that good yet, that's an underclassman, to fill out the second, third string of your linebacker core. It's hard to bring in like 3 or 4 good guys at the same time because they're all going to be like, well, if I go there, I'm probably not going to play that much because I'm going with 3 other dudes,
Right.
Oh, Texas pulled it off at defensive tackle. But you rotate more there than you do at linebacker.
They've been rotating there for years, at least under this regime. So they have proof of concept there.
They're going to rotate at linebacker too. You need a good 2 deep, but you really want Barnes there because he's really talented, and then you have like your natural succession.
Jose Castle, seems like this year's portal cycle is being used for leverage to see if a school can match what others offer. Yes and no. They've missed on guys, but Allegro was the first miss that was kind of in the open market. He was a Wisconsin linebacker who Wisconsin tried to get back, and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to take visits. Goes to Austin, goes to Columbus. Texas makes their pitch. Ohio State makes their pitch. He chooses the Buckeyes. Everybody else either did not enter the portal or return to their old school. And okay, sure, those are still misses. But if we see like a line of recruitments and battles like Allegro, that's when I'm going to start being like, whoa, okay, a second. But like, I think you can admit that you did not cross the goal line on 4th down on the opponent's 1. but what led you to get to the opponent's one in the first place? Like that's kind of my perspective on it right now.
The bigger loss, the bigger loss would be if they officially lose Barnes, or if they'd lost Derek Williams, where it's like, here's a guy where you have home field advantage. If you want to keep him, then you shouldn't lose, right? Because you have all those advantages now working for you. Most of the guys that we've seen leave Texas are guys where it was like, there's a lot of them, but a lot of them have been guys where Texas was like, we're okay with losing you.
And Evan should have something in a little bit about how, I'm not going to say get out of the silo, but like what's happening to Texas right now is kind of happening to a lot of other high quality teams. Like Ohio State has lost a lot of pretty dang good players. And some of it may have to do with, being behind Smith, Tate, Ennis at wide receiver. Your position coach goes to leave to be a head coach, and you're like, okay, time for me to get some opportunities here at South Florida. And that's obviously become a launching pad for, a lot of different careers. At that point, like you have to look around a little bit, get out of the Texas bubble, admit what's going on at Texas, but also see that it's happening a little bit at other places.
Yeah.
So
everyone's fixated on Texas.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though, in the defense of the fans, is that we told them Texas is going hard in this portal. They're all in. That's true. The guys that they've been aiming at tells you that that's true. But then when they don't land like that first wave of big splashy names, then the fans are like, wait, what is going on? I thought we were about to load up, and now I'm having to learn new names of players all the time that I've never heard of and try to sell myself on them. And then they just go somewhere else. So it's a very fraught time, but I encourage everyone to treat it as more of a roller coaster than a car wreck, at least until you make impact with something.
Yeah. Until the window closes. Here's the other thing. There are about I think Eric said there are literal thousands of players in the portal. And I don't think the deadline is not the 16th. Like they don't have to make a decision. There is a little bit of the practicality of school, or you could just not go to spring practice and just enroll in the summer and go through skill workouts. Like if at the very top tier, if it doesn't happen, it stinks, but you keep going. And if they don't have a plan for keep going, okay, that is bad news. But I doubt that they have all these like tier 1A options, the Cam Coleman levels. And they're like, yeah, we'll worry about the rest when we have to worry about it. That's bad process. And if they have bad process, then I think you would have heard about it by now. But it's just they're like Texas. They're just not cracking through the goal line at the end zone. So when will we get O-line? Go ahead.
It's possible they could have a bad process and they'll still get out of this alive.
Yeah.
Because the positions that they need at this point, other than outside receiver, are all positions that are just not that hard. Even outside receiver can be not that hard to find. So even if Texas gets down to like the third, fourth, or fifth option in the transfer portal and has to go buy a guy that you're like, I can't believe it's come to this, there's still a great chance that guy, if he comes in enough volume, is going to be more than good enough to fill Texas's need, because they're looking for like interior linemen. That's not going to be that hard of a job. You just need experience. When Texas finally played an experienced front five last year, but at the end of the year, they were great. I mean, they were not an amazing offensive line, but they were very effective as an offense because it was good enough. Like I said, the linebackers get to play behind like Hero Canoe and this 400-pound Jaffrard, and everything is very doable. There's a lot that has to be done, but it's all very doable.
When will we get O-linemen? That's what we're working to find out. That's the next level. You miss Sprague, you miss Guarnera, who else am I thinking of? I don't know. Are there any others? Those are the main two. I know they evaluated a Wyoming offensive lineman. What's his name? Jarius Peak or Jacarius Peak. I don't see that really formulating with Texas. I know he was mentioned. I don't see that coming to fruition.
So they've been aiming kind of high on the offensive line, which I think is kind of funny. Like early on, it was like they might just go get another tackle and move Brandon Baker inside, and it was like they don't really need to do that.
I'm not a fan of that.
Brandon Baker's don't really need to do that.
Yeah. Brandon Simmons, OU's been crushing it. How are they paying more than us?
They've been crushing it.
I don't think that they're paying more than Texas is. That's just my opinion. While money is extremely important these days, and I'd say you could probably chalk up, what would you say, 80% of these to being monetarily based? That's 80%. That still leaves room for other stuff. They're not paying more. Let's see. I'm looking through their transfer portal additions, and of the players who have committed to Oklahoma, and I'm even kind of like yes and no on transfer portal rankings because they have to happen so fast. The only player above 90 who Oklahoma, like 90.0, who Oklahoma is, or excuse me, they've added 2 wide receivers above 90. One was Parker Livingston, one was Trell Harris, and an offensive tackle. And the rest, of which are I think 5 or 6 or so, they haven't. They're all below like 87. Volume is not quality, but volume is still volume. So I understand that.
Seems like they got a bunch of really solid players that fit needs for them. They got that linebacker from Michigan, Cole Sullivan. I didn't even realize he entered the portal. He's really good. That's probably the best. Him or Livingston's probably the best guys they got. I think Livingston makes them better. I think all their guys make them better. But they're not. They're just hitting needs early, loading up on guys they know they can get.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor real quick, and that is Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Fast one.
Same-day delivery powered by DoorDash.
Can we hit this comment by Rodney Smith, 8565?
Do I have
about me spinning for Texas?
1 second. Let me see if I can find it. Rodney Smith. If I didn't know him better, I'd think Ian was being paid to spin by Texas.
No, I have a rubric for how I evaluate teams and how they build their rosters that I've written about a million times in a million different places. And I just follow it every time. And so when Texas doesn't match up the way I think they should, then I'll say, I don't think they're like this year. I was like, I don't think Texas is going to win the title. I don't think their roster is quite strong enough in the right places and the right ways to win. And everybody was like, Ian, you freaking pessimist idiot. Texas is preseason number 1 for a reason. We'll see this year, but so far we'll get to stuff later. I'm not close to panicking on this roster.
You were pretty on about everything but Grayson Littleton. That's the one I'm always going to give you a little rib about. You were right about the secondary, though, but individually, Grayson Littleton I thought was pretty solid.
Yeah, he was pretty solid, but he wasn't like – I mean, they lost and they fell apart in the secondary in the back half of the season. It wasn't all Littleton's fault, but I'm not going to – I feel totally fine about that.
We'll get to that in a little bit. We'll actually talk about that a little while. A few more comments to go through. Does the freshman 5-star have a chance to play? I'm guessing that's in reference to linebacker. That'd be Tyler Atkinson. I wasn't sure in a Pete Kwiatkowski defense. I might be a little bit more open to it in a Will Muschamp defense. He has day one athleticism, undoubtedly. I'm not 100% sure about his day one like linebacker ability, kind of like Anthony Hill. But Anthony Hill's athleticism was so good that he could play day one, and you would accept that athleticism to make up for some of the mistakes. Different players, I'm a little bit more open to the idea of him playing, and you want Bo Barnes back. And again, Charlie Williams has details. He posted them late last night on Texas. Bo Barnes, his name did pop in the portal this morning, I've been told, but that doesn't mean they can't still communicate with him. Haven't been communicating with them. But I'm a little bit more open to him playing in a Muschamp defense than maybe I was in a Kwiatkowski defense.
I think he'll play. I think Ty Anthony Smith is the ideal money linebacker position for a Muschamp. So I think Smith will start and Atkinson will spell him at that position. Garrett Blaylock, this is not I was early on Texas in 2023. I said Texas to the playoffs in 2023 when that was not when people were like it's too early. Texas hasn't shown that they can do that. And the reason was the same thing. They were loaded with proven awesome players at the right positions.
Oh, sorry. Missed what you were saying. Yeah, that was a year to do it. Going through a couple more comments, a little bit more macro stuff, and then we'll get into your defensive back looks. This has been a pretty good, interesting question. Does it make sense to keep your roster between 75 and 85 guys with the greater number of transfer portal departures happening every year? I think the first part of that answer could be yes, but I don't think it's because of the second part of the question. I think it's because if you want to create a top line, I mean, you only have so many dollars. So I think while teams may now be able to go up to 105, I don't know how many will.
It's a little different without that spring window. So it's not like you don't necessarily want to leave a lot of spots for the spring window because it's not going to happen. So I think teams will – I mean, it depends on when you're asking. Like right before the portal, you're going to want to be – I don't know. 105 gives you so much leeway. I don't know if this is really that much of a –
You got to pay them. Or they're walk-ons. Or they're walk-on quality. It's a conundrum. I really think that's something that teams are going to have to figure out over the next couple of years.
Schools also have to find the extra revenue to supply for what the additional 20 scholarships that do cost money. You got to come up with that money for that.
And that's not a Texas problem, but it probably is schools whose annual revenue is less than 9 figures. So it'll look a little bit different. All right, couple more. Is Lyric Rawls, Justin, I'm going to hit you with a fastball here. Is Lyric Rawls a serious option for Texas at safety? Someone else said they visited soon. Thoughts on him compared to Edwin Joseph?
No, he is not a serious option for Texas. I checked in with both of them. I checked in with Lyric yesterday and with Texas. Lyric's agent is doing the work. He's reaching out to schools and trying to gather attention and some exposure. But after checking with the source with Texas, they do not feel like they're going to pursue Lyric Rawls. That's a former Marshall, Texas kid, too. He's an East Texas kid. I've known him for a long time. He actually grew up in Jefferson, Texas, transferred to Marshall sometime in high school. He played at Oklahoma State. He played at Kansas. I don't know if he's had any other stops. He's a really good, twitchy athlete. I think he would be a welcome addition to a program, but I don't think he's a real option for Texas.
Mike, do you think they will get another safety like the one from Georgia? I think Derek Williams' return makes that a little bit a little less important. Maybe that is not a priority anymore, in my opinion.
You got McDonald, Williams, Filsami, Johnson, Rubel, Jonah Williams. Hopefully,
Jonah Williams,
Zealous Hicks. There's no need.
They would love. Texas fans would love an Andrew Makuba type. Those just aren't going to happen every cycle or whatnot. And right now, they got
their Andrew Makuba.
Yeah,
he plays corner this time.
There you go. Yeah, and Jonah Williams. I don't see him playing linebacker. I don't know. I don't see him playing closer to the line. If anything, I see Jonah playing further away from the line.
Yeah, I think if
you gotta like contact to play linebacker.
I think Jonah Williams is going to be playing center field, and then he's going to be playing center field. That's
guys. Just don't forget that's a baseball family. So if he hits 350 this spring, just be prepared. That's a baseball family.
Man, I hate to keep bringing you up, but he already did see the field as a safety with baseball. Like, I think we all want Jonah Williams to do our preference, but what if our preference is for him to be a special player and be able to do this type of thing?
And his family has all geared all this growing up towards baseball, just like they did with his older brother.
I think maybe if he sticks with both and he's able to sustain that grind, I think by his upperclassman years, he may be able to do both. But his development in both will be slowed by trying to do both.
He had a pretty straightforward role in this year's defense, except for when he had to play against Vanderbilt, and that's because third string player. They were targeting foul, and Taft was out. No, it was McDonald got cussed. Taft was out. They had to do a lot of different things in that secondary of that game. But he played in that specialty package plenty for Texas and worked out pretty darn well.
Also got to remember when Kyler Murray did this and he was playing quarterback, it was in his fourth year of college.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth year.
Right, but Kyler only played the first 2 – I thought he only played the first 2 years of baseball in college. I could be wrong.
No, he was split the year before his amazing quarterback year at Oklahoma.
Right.
He was going back and forth from baseball games to spring practice. It was wild.
Yeah, right. I think with Jonah, like if baseball really, really hits and does well, guys, don't be surprised if that's the direction he goes. Like that's kind of how they're wired.
It's good money.
It's great money, and they don't limp for the rest of their life.
Uh-huh.
Utah Horn trying to will Cam Coleman into existence.
Bring it, Utah. Bring it, brother. Hey, I'm missing Johnny this morning. Good to see you, Utah.
A couple more, then we'll get to Ian in the secondary. Wondering what y'all might think about instituting transfer fees for portal players sometimes down the line. Feels like programs should be reimbursed for development. We may see something like that play out with DeMond Williams, but there's got to be a lot of congressional work.
That's called a buyout.
There's got to be a lot of congressional work or an even further seismic non-NCAA entity arriving for, I feel like that.
I think buyouts are coming.
Buyouts are coming. Transfer fees, I don't know.
Well, transfer fees, it's a fancy word for going to cost money for you to go somewhere else. It's called a buy. They're going to put in buyouts to all these contracts.
You need to make it worth the while of G5s and FCS programs and whatnot. You need to make it worth their while to sustain expensive football programs. So if you're going to start pushing them out of the TV money, pushing them out of the playoffs, which you should, then you got to make it up to them some other way. And one good way would be buyouts.
That's how it's worked for coaches. You know, when you take – It works in the professional world, Joe.
Yeah.
And guess what? These are mini pros. They're not big pros, but they're mini pros.
My favorite and therefore least favorite tidbit about DeMond Williams is that guy screwed the pooch, but the same guy who was advising Dominic Williams and the same guy who was advising Nico Iamaleava apparently advised, per a Pete Thamel story, advised DeMond Williams to, after re-signing with Washington, announce he was entering the portal during a funeral service for a Washington soccer player who had passed away and was not present at that service. So
you're telling me that agent needs a publicist?
I think he needs a different line of work.
That's probably the nice way to put it.
Do you think there will ever be a JV and varsity like D3? I think there are still some JV teams around, but it's like very weird what the rules are.
Remember when we first started hearing a lot about this? I was talking to a guy from Auburn that told me that was initially going to be their plan, to go to like Ivy schools and G5 schools and pick up guys that were starters there. And then if they couldn't make it, on the 22 deep or whatever, on the team, they could make up the junior varsity. And that would essentially be the scout team that you would face on a regular basis. And whenever someone got injured or someone, something happened, you could just slide a guy up off of that JV and he would, go right into that thing. I think that there was a vision of doing that, but there's no execution or plan that I know of.
I know I'm 90% sure that the service academies have JVs, different animal. I'm also fairly certain that North Carolina basketball has a JV team that plays like Division 2 or 3. So it is doable in D1.
Basketball has JV teams, Joe. We're talking football.
I know.
Basketball teams do.
But there is that at a major athletic program for their A1 sport. So interesting stuff there. Before we keep going, and Ryan Nelson, going to encourage you to go to Inside Texas. Coach Williams had something on him last night. He did enter the portal officially. His name popped up in there today, we've been told. But I don't think that doesn't affect what Texas is trying to do and getting him back. And Charlie Williams had intel on that last night. Before we
Beauty of the portal. Once you go in, you can come back out. It's not Hotel California.
Yeah, it's people's policies change. Before we keep going, word from Andre the lawyer.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results. Andre the lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
All right, Ian, we hit it this morning. Is Texas quietly building a championship secondary?
Yes.
All right, there we go. Have a good show.
I saw a tweet about this yesterday, and it really got my attention, Ian.
Yeah, people don't want to hear this right now.
Well, tough. Give them good news whether they want it or not.
Yeah. Well, they have everybody's just immediately like, okay, but who's going to block and who's going to play linebacker, which are legitimate questions that should find answers in time that are likely to be satisfactory. In the meantime, show me a Texas team that achieved anything worthwhile, and I'm going to show you one of the better secondaries of its time. It's like those 2008, 2009 Texas teams loaded in the secondary.
Yeah, you're comparing those. You're going to compare the 08 and 09 with this?
Yeah.
But the ones before them were good too.
They were all good, but if he goes 08, 09, you had guys on the bench that could start.
At the bench,
I got to hear this, boy.
I'm talking about the guys that are actually playing on the field. Don't give me the Dwayne Aquino. We had 9 future NFL guys. Well, you had like 4 that played. Okay. Like, calm down, Dwayne.
Fair enough.
Take it to the golf course. 2024 elite secondary. I think this one is comparable to that 2024 unit. I got a lot of pushback. Even Joe was raising his eyebrows. Let's scroll down to, I laid this out a few weeks ago. I said, this is what you need to build a great secondary. And then I was skeptical that they would be able to pull it off. Okay. You need an ace cornerback, like an NFL press man against anyone but Jeremiah Smith kind of guy. You need 2 safeties that know what they're doing in the scheme, veteran upperclassmen guys. If they're great athletes, that's great too. But most of all, they need to be really sound positionally and smart. And then you need to have at least 3 guys on the field at all times in nickel that can turn and run with somebody without getting burned. They don't all have to be NFL players, but they all have to be able to do that, or else you're going to get into trouble when you play like an Ole Miss or somebody. And you're going to play somebody like that if you're trying to win the championship. Okay, part 1, they got Bo Masco from Rutgers. Nobody's talking about it. Go watch the film. Bo Masco is actually a very good player. There's a reason Ohio State wanted him. And I think the reason Texas got him, y'all recruit people, tell me if I'm wrong, is because his coach is at Texas, Mark Orfe. So this is like a big time, this is like a, I don't want to say Cam Coleman level, but almost Cam Coleman level impact position player that two major schools that pride themselves on NFL cornerback coverage were both trying to get, and Texas got him, and nobody cares because it's like, well, we need offensive line, we need linebacker, we need running back. Huge deal to add Bo Masco. And Cade Phillips, 5-star, played immediately as a freshman, was very good, started in the bowl game. Terrific.
Yes.
Either one of those guys could be your main dude, and you'd be in good shape. Okay? Part 2, 2 veteran safeties. This was looking really dicey. Then Jelani McDonald came back. Okay, this is a lot better. Maybe go get the Clemson guy or somebody else, and you could be in good shape. Better than that, Derek Williams is coming back. He's going to be a 4th-year player, 2nd year off the ACL. You're great now. Part 3, a nickel package that can keep 3 guys on the field at all times that can turn and run. Well, your 2 corners can, so that's good. And now you get to keep Grayson Littleton or Wardell Mack at nickel. So now you're set there. I did the same process in 2024, and I told everybody, hey, this secondary is going to be awesome. Like, Texas might be dominant on defense because of the secondary. And people were like, dude, Jahdae Barron was getting torched at nickel last year. What are you talking about? The accumulation of these pieces all together really starts to add up. It really stacks up when you have all these pieces together at the same time. Texas has all the pieces. And so people are like, well, where's the NFL talent? It's going to emerge from this group. Jelani McDonald or Derek Williams is going to be a 1st, 2nd round talent after the season that they're about to have. Masco or Cade Phillips are going to be an NFL level player, maybe an early round level player in a year or 2 after this season. Maybe Littleton or one of these other guys. The talent is there. I'm just calling it early because I can see how when these pieces fit together, it speeds up development. It speeds up everything. Everything comes together better.
So what was missing for 2025 Texas? Big drink of water.
Part 1, part 2.
They had a guy that would fit in part 1, though, better than the 2 guys you mentioned that could fit in part 1 in this group this year.
Muhammad. They had Muhammad. Muhammad was good.
Yeah.
They're okay. They're okay with Muhammad.
The problem was part 2 had those 2 veteran safeties were both hurt at one time.
That McDonald also did not play.
He wasn't like veteran.
He didn't play like a veteran last year.
Yeah.
They were iffy on part 3 too. Like, Littleton was solid. He made a lot of plays underneath, but he wasn't quite realized. And then the other corner spot was not quite there either.
He played better than Grayson Littleton played above what we thought he was going to be, but he was still a freshman.
They also committed like egregious busts.
Yeah, a Vanderbilt game. Who's playing cover 2?
Oh, gosh.
Cover 3.
Part 4, good coordination, which is also going to be solved by Will Muschamp.
And you kind of go through the list of other players. Like, there's still good news for the guys waiting in the wings behind him too.
Yeah, they have depth. They have options. Like, even if that starting 5 I've rolled out doesn't come together for whatever reason, you have Roberson, maybe Black, Wardell Mack at corner that are all promising guys. Might have another one coming in. You got, I don't even remember who the freshmen are anymore. Got Johnson Rubel and Filsamy, who are actually
Samari Matthews and Haywood Howard Jr.
There you go. Johnson Rubel and Filsamy are starting to age into the years when they start to put it together at safety. You don't need to count on it, but it could happen. There's always the chance that Jonah Williams breaks out. I probably wouldn't count on that one, but he is really talented. They have like 9 or 10 guys that are worthy of playing at Texas on the roster at various stages of development.
So how do you fit it all together?
I pretty much gave this up. Like, Masco and Phillips are your corners.
Yeah.
It'd be shocking if anything else happened. They're both really versatile. I wouldn't play them even field or boundary. I would just play 6'2" Phillips on the taller receiver And then how isn't Masco? He's like 5'10", 185, something like that.
Yeah,
5'10",
something like that.
5'11".
I'd play him on the smaller outside receiver. Littleton comes back at nickel. I think that guy could be really something in year 2. Like he flashed all the time, but he was not consistent last year. This year, when he knows what he's doing and he's in a better system, could be awesome. And then I think Jelani McDonald at strong safety and Derek Williams at free safety, but I'm not totally sure because I think Derek Williams was actually more talented than McDonald before he got hurt. And so I kind of want to see where
he was more twitchy, maybe a little bit more instinctive,
more
but from
rangy.
a flat out athletic standpoint, move your body control, like up and down, I would give the nod to Jelani.
They're both awesome. They're
Yes.
both way more athletic than they even need to be to play the position.
Amen.
Derek Williams early on before he got hurt would make plays where he'd be like deep and he'd make a tackle, and the place on the field where he would make the tackle, you're like, where did that guy even come from?
That's
like
the
appear on
2023 Baylor game was just like, whoa, who is this guy?
Yeah.
He's called the Raptor for a reason.
He doesn't even need to be all the way back to that. It's really more about what he's been learning in these last couple of years about football in general.
So you make some comparisons to Georgia, as we're kind of want to do now that we have Georgia's old co-defensive coordinator, and what are some of the things Texas fans can take from this?
Strong safety plays to this. They define the strength of the formation as the passing strength. So wherever this fast slot receiver lines up, that's where the strong safety goes, and that's where the nickel goes. So that's usually to the wide side of the field, not necessarily though. And that's where Muschamp would put his. That's where Georgia in general puts their best safety. They put whoever is the more experienced of their freakier safeties plays strong safety. So way back in the day, that was Earl Thomas for Texas. For the last few years at Georgia, it's been these characters: Starks, Bolden, Smith, Bullard, usually blue chip athletes. Bullard wasn't a blue chip athlete, but he ended up being a blue chip level athlete, as I recall. Didn't he get drafted and like have good?
Bullard?
Yeah.
I think he's for the Packers. I think he starts for the Packers. Yeah.
Bullard was second round, 58th overall.
Yeah, 4.47 dash. Yeah,
he's a starter for them. Yeah.
Yeah. This is where the dude goes. So you find out who your dude is. Some of these guys played free safety early though, because the strong safety has more coverage optionality and what he might be asked to do with like the rules he may have to follow. Whereas the free safety is usually like either bracket the receiver or like look to the box. So it's a much simpler position. You can get a guy that's like a bigger hitter there, or you can get a guy that's like still learning the ropes. Whoever of McDonald and Williams is more studious and rangy in offseason will get this job. I don't know who to bet on. I guess McDonald is probably your Vegas favorite, but I don't rule out Williams.
I'm excited to see Derek Williams back. I think that, that was one that you understand what you understood with the previous secondary coaching staff and defensive coaching staff, while there just was some differences of opinion. But Steve Sarkisian, Will Muschamp helped to kind of smooth everything over. So here's some of the looks. You just kind of talked about it on the screen. This is some of the looks that you'll see. And traditionally, a lot of teams would say the strength would be toward the top of the screen just because the tight end's over there, correct? But because defense is coverage it's back to front very often, you have to start viewing it from where do I need to put faster guys in front of other faster guys.
Yeah, they split it at Georgia. They play, and Muschamp in general, and Saban guys, They play the star safety and the strong safety to the passing strength, which would be the H and the X. And then they play the money linebacker to the run strength to the tight end. So that $sign is for the money linebacker, and he lines up to the Y. That's going to be your Ty Anthony Smith, your Tyler Atkinson. And then what I'm drawing here is that when they play single high safety coverage, they play this thing called a cheat safety. So like most teams, when they play single high traditionally, if it's that strong safety that's dropping deep, before or just after the snap, he's bailing to Hutto. He's just dropping deep to the middle of the field to keep the ball in front of him. Kirby Smart eventually was like, we got to stop doing this. They're throwing RPOs. They're throwing all this spread stuff. We're just wasting a player way out in Hutto that now can't help us. So he tells that guy, you shuffle a little bit to the middle of the field. You read the backfield for run or pass. And if you see run blocking, now you're shallower and you can play downhill on the run, or you can break on RPO throws that are over the middle of the field. If you see that they're dropping back to pass, now you go back to Hutto.
Yeah, and you're an athlete. You can do it.
Yeah. And so the result of this is that player, the strong safety ends up doing that more than the free safety. And he ends up getting a ton of tackles because now you're in single high, but you've got this like quarter depth safety that's running the alley. And it makes it really, really hard to pick up long runs on teams that play this way, especially if that safety is good. So whoever of Williams or McDonald is in that role, and then they have the playing range and the tackling ability that those two guys have, then you end up building a defense where it's like impossible to break long runs and it's impossible to get clear, easy throws on RPOs because they're just sitting there right there, breaking on everything up the middle. It's very nice.
What if they see a veer and shoot? Like because we saw Tennessee light up Georgia on offense this year. So that's kind of like my one hesitation that I'm thinking of right now.
Georgia shut down Tennessee every year by just playing man coverage and doing this. And then this year they tried to do the 3 deep flyover deal. I don't know why. And they totally botched it up front, and they just got murdered by Tennessee running the ball down their throats. So it was kind of a different. I don't know what happened there. Maybe we'll get a chance to ask us champ, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, hey, Georgia still escaped from Rocky Top with a win, and we saw how effective that defense was. Let me pull up a good thing on the screen for a little bit of playoff talk before we get out of here. But Mike D, this has kind of been the common question. Will Sark let Bo come back to Texas, or is he letting Muschamp deal with the players on the defensive side? Or Sark will, but Sark and Muschamp are both involved in this. I'm going to again point everybody, go read what our Charlie Williams wrote last night about this. Bo is in the portal, but there's still communication. I know Sark on the pivot once said, if you're in the portal, you're gone. But people can evolve how they view things and make, their policies can definitely change. So trying to think of a good place to find a preview for this upcoming game. But we can just talk about it on the screen. And we got bunch of Saban acolytes, got Indiana, we got Oregon, Ole Miss.
Miami.
Golly, I don't know how I'm doing that.
Miami might win this whole thing, man.
Yeah, it is.
That running that duo that looks like out inside zone in a way that's with Mark Fletcher Jr. Dude, you could run that on an NFL team. That offensive line, and with that, and you know what? They're taking the pressure off of Carson back. They're not making him throw the ball 25 times. They're letting him throw it like 15 to 18 times. Like and Fletcher's taking that pressure with that secondary back, coming in and stuff. And so, yeah, Miami might win this thing, Joe.
Bet.
Let's get to the first game.
And if they do, oh my God, if Miami wins, get ready for the banner in College Station. Just understand, you don't think they're going to spin that sucker? Hey,
Oh,
they were within 3 points or 10 points, or I can't even remember what the score. Did A&M actually score that game? I can't remember if they or Tech actually scored or if neither one scored. But that, I'm telling you, they're going to use that. Well, if we could have gotten past Miami, no. You had
Miami
the wrong time.
Ole Miss is very talented, and Trinidad Chambliss is doing some fantastic things. But this this kind of feels like a power friendship type team right now. Whereas Miami,
I'm surprised Ole Miss beat Georgia. So, but Chambliss played out of his mind. If he can do that, I feel like Miami's defense is really good too. Oh man, especially
Ole Miss has to run practices with like assistants and guys who are
they're all knowledgeable football people. Let's not make it sound like the freshman coaches had to take over for the varsity. Like they understand their role, they understand their job. And look, if you watch Miami on tape, they're not going to try to fool you. Like Miami's going to tell you exactly what they're doing. So this is going to be can the Ole Miss hold up the SEC's little thing in this final four? And Buddy Ida, Stone, man, Miami looks good. Indiana looks fantastic. I'm not downplaying that. We'll talk about that. But right now, Miami's outstanding.
Miami for me is their trench play is of a quality that I think it may be the best in this playoff on both sides.
Yes.
Can they pressure Chambliss into mistakes? And then Carson Beck's the wild card. And I say that thinking like if he has a great game, which he's more than capable of, this could be pretty easy for Miami.
No, but
I know.
But we all know what Carson Beck is capable of.
I think Cristobal does too, and that's why I think they've limited the last month of the season. Carson Beck has stopped throwing the ball. Listen, he had contacts that were colorblind. They had those changed. They've stopped letting him chunk the ball too much. I'm telling you, Miami figured it out about 3 weeks before this playoff started, and they may be able to use that to make a run at the Natty.
Ian, anything?
Ian's just took a big
I know something's loading up here.
Yeah. Tell me where I'm
Yeah, this could be Lane Kiffin's greatest coaching job ever. Just giving Ole Miss the motivation to bring it home, uniting in their hatred of him for abandoning them.
I saw something the other day. Somebody posted at the SEC, all the players that have left, that have transferred from the SEC, top to bottom. And they're like, I cannot believe Ole Miss is hold on to all their team. There's only 2 guys at Ole Miss. What are they doing right? They're still playing.
They're winning.
They're still playing.
I think Evan's writing about that today. And
still playing.
Maybe it's not power of friendship, but power of spite, something like that. The other wild card for this game, Mario Cristobal can do some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
He can let a clock hit halftime before a 30-yard field goal. He can run the ball instead of kneeling it out. And I think Kieran called him Cubano Tom Herman one time. And
man, that's actually good.
But I think he's got a little bit more juice than Tom Herman. I'm thinking Miami.
I got
Miami in the under, which is probably pretty bold, but that's what I'm seeing.
My hesitation with Ole Miss is not Miami, but how physical that Georgia game was.
Did it wear him out a little bit?
I think Quan Lacey's got a shoulder thing now.
You're right, he does. Yeah.
Those 2 teams were going at it. And my Ole Miss surely got beat up a little bit in that game, maybe even beyond what's on the injury report. I think they can beat Miami.
Is it true Ole Miss would not let Kiffin make a choice after the season is over? Yeah. That was the thing. It's like, no, you're either our coach or you're gone. And Ole Miss was, you have to do that. You have to protect your brand. during the season. And then how can Ryan Day not move the ball with the offensive weapons he has? Who gets the ball to those weapons? And who made mistakes in that game? I mean, you had a pick six literally change everything up. And that's
Paul wrote about this morning. If you're Ryan Day and you're Steven Sarkisian, you're looking at this and it's like, okay, the year that Ohio State finally wins, it's not when they've got their young 5-star future NFL quarterback hotshot. It's when they had sixth year Will Howard.
Yeah.
If you're Sark, you gotta be wondering, like, am I really doing the right thing? Always loading up on the next 5-star quarterback and then having to play him early, or should I be like letting everybody else develop all the amazing quarterbacks that come out of Texas and then poaching the best one that emerges? It's a tough thing. I think that would be a huge adjustment for Texas fans. They don't need to do it right now because they have Arch Manning and he's amazing and he's going to be a 4th-year player next year. But it's a lot easier to – all these teams have veteran transfer quarterbacks.
What about Oregon and Indiana down in the Peach Bowl? This was
a good game the first time they played, if I remember correctly. Wasn't it pretty close? I mean,
yeah, Indiana pulled it out.
Yeah.
Indiana pulled it out at Autzen, which is a tough place to play. Long trip for both these schools, cross country for one of them. Hard to beat a team twice, but man, Indiana is that may also be a power friendship team, but man, they are it's also power of focus from Kurt Cignetti.
They're very confident. Like, honestly, I think every week this year, they've gotten more confident. And right now they're at that, they're closer to that peak level. They're playing to the representation of their coach. And like he says, Google him because he wins. Oregon's going to come correct. You know, Oregon has a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I actually like some of the guys they have on defense. And they're gonna go crazy with those receivers, and they've got a decent run game. I love Jordan Davison, but Indiana, man, they don't make mistakes. They're the least penalized team of all these playoff teams. They're smart. They execute. They don't turn the ball over. And then you got a Mendoza that it just seems like the perfect storm for the perfect quarterback for what they were trying to do. A guy that doesn't bring any ego in. You know, the former, like what Saban used to look for at quarterback. Look, Oregon's got the more talented roster. Indiana's probably got the better team.
Ian, what does
man, I didn't know Davison broke his collarbone. I'm telling you guys, the depth is everything in these playoffs. The team that has the deepest depth and stays the healthiest usually wins these things. Wow.
This is a big thing. Being old helps. Indiana's old. They may be a lot of G5 players who are old, but they're old. Being 24 is different than being 19.
They're like, you know what they are? I finally got it. They're one of those Jay Wright Villanova teams where it's all older guys.
And no 5 stars.
Now, he had there's like –
it evolved.
Jalen Brunson turned into an NBA 5-star.
That whole team, people were like, there's no NBA talent on this team. And then it ended up being like there was like 3-4 NBA players on that team. But that was the idea, right? It was all older guys. Virginia is kind of like that, a little less successful maybe. You see it in basketball a ton. Gonzaga, Texas Tech with Beard.
Texas Tech now.
Yeah.
They're doing that. Ian, what does Indiana do defensively that just without having their defensive ends were fantastic. And of course, one got hurt celebrating a Big Ten championship. But what doesn't Indiana do some crazy things defensively that make it tough for teams to know what's coming?
Yeah, they play mostly zone. They're good at playing in zone. Their linebackers are amazing at blitzing. They can bring a lot of different blitzes because they're good at playing zone. So it makes it easier to move different pieces around because you're not worried about somebody getting exposed to man coverage because you're not playing man coverage. And they have a few different ways to play Tampa 2. They have like the traditional drop the middle linebacker, Aiden Fisher deep, like Brian Urlacher, back in the day. They have other versions where they like move guys around and a safety slides into that spot. So they're just always throwing different zone looks at you. They keep the ball in front of them, and then they blitz good and they smack the crap out of you when they tackle you.
Aren't they big on sim pressures?
Yep.
And then can you tell the people at home what that is?
Probably just about all these teams do this now. Maybe Indiana's one of the better ones at it, but so let's figure Texas. You got Colin Simmons. You bring Colin Simmons, you put him on a specific spot of the line, and you put him there like he's going to blitz from this difficult angle. And then the offense is like, okay, check the sideline. What are we going to do about this? Okay, we better check to this protection. So we're going to shade everybody to stop Colin Simmons.
You're about to touch a third rail here.
I know. I shouldn't. This is not the right example. Then you drop out Colin Simmons, but you bring like 2 or 3 guys from the place that they just weakened with their protection call. And that's why Indiana always looks like they're amazing. Their linebackers are good at blitzing, but they're also great at doing these sims. So not only are they great, but they come in and then it's like really good blitzing linebacker versus an out of alignment lineman or like a running back or something. And they just blow through them. And then they ragdoll Dante Moore to the ground, or he throws a pick 6. That's what happened last time.
Dante Moore is going to have some good boomer bust plays in this game, and I'm excited to watch it.
The kid's got a live arm. Didn't you really like him, Joe, at like the San Antonio Navy Combine one?
In that class,
Jelani was there that weekend too, playing corner, destroying people.
In that class, he was my number 2 behind Arch.
Yeah,
because that was Jackson Arnold, that was Nico, that was
you had always really kind of talked him up.
That was Malachi. And I was like, that dude is, if he gets in the right situation, and he finally found it. It took him a year to get there. Like, he got to dip his toe in the water with Chip, and then he transfers, sits behind Dylan Gabriel, goes and plays and takes over.
Wasn't he originally committed to Michigan?
He's from Michigan, committed to Oregon, signed with UCLA, played with Chip for a year.
So he never committed to Michigan. Okay.
Transferred out, and then sat behind Gabriel last year.
Gotcha.
So,
hey, you said something in this segment a few minutes ago that I cannot forget now.
What, Indiana?
Indiana. I listen. If Ian gets on this Signetti train, I'm gonna patent that. I'm gonna trademark that. That's a T-shirt. Indiana.
We'll be talking about.
If you want to learn how to build a roster effectively, and you want to understand what I go on about when I'm like, hey, it doesn't matter. You don't need big names at these position, in this position, in this position. You just need star players here, here, and here. Indiana is like the ultimate vindication of everything I've ever said. And you can tell
it is Indiana. I see a book in the works, guys. I really do.
Their whole operation centers around having like a bunch of guys like us that they pay to just grind film and find prospects at lower levels.
Yeah.
And then that's why they're so good at it. They're not just waiting on agents to bring them names or waiting on the recruiting services to do it for them.
And they all have a chip on their shoulder. So,
and a Mark Cuban that just dropped another big check.
And yet the Hoosiers can't win in basketball, but we're talking
football. That's a football school.
We'll be talking football here on Inside Texas. Go to InsideTexas.com. Use that first link in our description. Get using that QR code right there. We got transfer portal intel. We got all the latest team info. We got discussion of the college football playoff. We got everything you could want over on Inside Texas. So thank everybody for watching. Ian, Justin, thank you all. We'll see you next time on IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.